And welcome, everybody, to another Nothing Like a Good Book. And this one's a ripper, too. You know, the purpose of this particular book written is to give people with serious diseases hope by guiding them towards being an active participant in their healing process, both mentally and physically. Because, I mean, all diseases begin with cellular damage, right? Often due to a lack of oxygen. Healing should also start at the cellular level, primarily by increasing cellular oxygen. Now, Dr. Otto Heinrich Warburg, he's a Nobel Prize-winning researcher. He discovered that controlling the body's pH through increased cellular oxygen can prevent and heal most diseases, including cancer. Now, despite his groundbreaking research, which received 26 Nobel nominations, it's been largely ignored by the medical industry because oxygen cannot be patented. So, my special guest, Jan Lindhardt, is the author of Oxygen for Life, Keys to Health. Welcome, Jan.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, despite his groundbreaking research, 26 Nobel nominations, it's been largely ignored by the medical industry because it can't be patented. I mean, I find this to be ludicrous. What say you?
Well, actually, Otto Warburg is an interesting character. He was part of the First World War back in 1918. He was 30 years old, had a PhD in medicine as well as in chemistry. And he got a minor wound, and for which he got the Iron Cross. Then his good friend of the family, Albert Einstein, thought that would be an incredible waste to have him on the front line being damaged. So he petitioned to have him released successfully, and Otto Warburg went into research. During his 26 Nobel nominations, he learned that the law of parsimony, which was created by William of Ockham back in 1347, it's also known as Occam's razor. All things being equal, the simplest solution tends to be the best. Otto Warburg found out that really was true. When he was looking for cancer solution in his Nobel statement that he gave, which I have read both in Danish and English and German. He says, cancer above all other diseases have countless secondary causes, but even for cancer, there's only one prime cause, and that is the replacement of respiration of oxygen in normal body cells by fermentation of sugar. Now, that's a big mouthful, but let me put that in perspective. You probably watch your grandmother or your mother make yeast bread, where they start with yeast, add a little flour, add a little sugar, and they then they cover it so it won't get oxygen and put it in a body temperature location where it will multiply and rise up. You add some more flour and you pack it down and let it rise up. Eventually, you have what I call an intentional tumor called bread, and you bake it in the oven. So to translate, and out of that point, of course, the cells are dead. Now, I don't recommend that we put our cancer people in an oven, but in order to restate his sentence, he said, cancer above all diseases have countless secondary causes, but even for cancer, there's only one prime cause, lack of cellular oxygen. That's a simpler way to say that.
Wow. He
also continued by saying no disease, there's no exclusions here, including cancer, can exist or thrive in an alkaline environment. And his last of the major statements that I made a note of, deprive a cell of 35% of its oxygen for 48 hours and they may become cancerous. And given the amount of free radicals that we have in the air and that we get from our food and secondhand smoke and whatnot, it is actually quite easy to have a cell lose 30% of its oxygen and become cancerous. By the way, Otto Warburg also was of Jewish descent, and during Second World War, he got one more Nobel Prize, but Hitler wouldn't allow him to go and get it because he had made derogatory remarks about Hitler. But Hitler kept him alive under house arrest in his laboratory because Hitler feared throat cancer he was considered what was called a Mischling, mixed blood, first degree. And he would have ended up in the concentration camps had it not been for his research. So he's quite my hero, to put it mildly.
Okay, well, you profess that, Yen, this book, based, by the way, folks, on over 10,000 hours of research and personal experiences, emphasizes natural health solutions and the importance of cellular oxygen. Now, it shares both successes and mistakes, offering valuable lessons for readers. And you do add, please pray and consider the information carefully before applying it. So we'll go into that. But, well, in fact, explain what do you mean by that, Yen?
Okay. Because of the fact that I do not diagnose and I do not prescribe because I simply can't, the doctors are phenomenal at diagnosing. They get it right 80% of the times, which means they only screw up 1 out of 5. But the reality is that we have to realize that sometimes we need a secondary confirmation. So you could either go to your doctor, who would probably not understand what you're talking about, because he only has 1 week to 10 days worth of nutrition and 8 years worth of pharmaceuticals. So maybe a holistic wellness practitioner would be a better choice. Now, like you mentioned, you can always read it, ponder it, pray about it. I like this particular disclaimer that I use in my presentations. The piano has 84 keys. The 3-year-old behind the piano, you're going to have a noise. But if you put a pianist behind it, you'll have beautiful music. So it's all the arrangement. And the alphabet has 26 characters that can be arranged into 170,000 words. And that can be arranged either into gibberish, poetry, lyrics, or something else. So even though I have over 10 to 12,000 hours of studying nutrition, nothing I say is really original. It is just my arrangement that's mine, putting it in order and emphasizing what I feel is essential.
Well, I want to make note here that between you and your wife, 8 children you did raise without health insurance, necessitating for you to learn about natural solutions to health issues. I mean, you took a deep dive into the work and subsequent, as you say, the 1931 Nobel Prize in Medicine awarded to Dr. Otto Warburg for his work on overcoming cancer and other major illnesses. 10,000 and 12,000 hours in self-study. That's quite a dedication, really, isn't it? Now, due to American involvement in World War II, you have a passion, though, for helping veterans, which is great. And you started Oxygen for Life, located at this particular address. Folks, if you'd like to go to it, oxygenforlife.org. Okay, so what are you hoping to do here, Yen?
Okay, that's a very good question. When I came to America and became a citizen, I realized that these freedoms are not free. They are protected by the military, who are willing to protect our rights as citizens. And when I reflected back on Second World War, had it not been for American involvement, I would have been raised in Denmark speaking German, saying Heil Hitler, and that really did not appeal to me. So, and then I saw a sign in Kansas City that said 21 veterans and 1 active soldier commit suicide every day. And so combining that with Otto Warburg's ignored Nobel Prize, it gave me, it gave me real insight into doing something for the veterans. And so the idea is to use the book as a tool that I can leave with the veterans. And I also am working on an 8-week course where I essentially will be holding people's hands for 8 weeks, guiding them through the process. That will soon be available. But for right now, the book is a major emphasis in sharing.
Well,
on an interesting fact,
you're going to be meeting in VFW and American Legions, aren't you? And as I understand it, hopefully in churches as well. Do you have a plan, briefly, how are you going to go across America doing this?
I was 16, 18 or so, by the time I had the American Legion, so I had a little over 30 in the greater Kansas City area. And I'll spiral out from there. Once I get beyond my normal driving distance, the idea is to get myself a Class C vehicle, so I essentially got a motel on wheels and can then branch out. At some point, the idea the impact will become big enough that I need to hire somebody to represent me so we can be in 2 places and then eventually 4 places and 6 places. My real dream actually is to have the hospital that we send our veterans to, have them accept AutoWorkers research so that it becomes part of their cancer research, that we allow them to use oxygen as a treatment. By the way, Kansas City Research Hospital have just started to use vitamin C as a cancer treatment because vitamin C is an antioxidant, a free radical scavenger. So we're moving in the right direction.
The more vitamin
C. The time for this book is absolutely perfect because people, including the doctors themselves, are getting disillusioned by the medical system in America.
Right. Well, so with the help of the book, professionals really, you got your book published and realized that your biggest chance of success will likely come from podcasts, JV partners. You are actually finalizing the book in an Audible as well. This is you. And it's being translated into Danish as well as English, correct?
That is correct.
Will you be doing the audio for that yourself? Will you be recording that?
I already did that in bits and pieces in a controlled environment, and they're putting Humpty Dumpty together, running it through filters, and will soon have it available. And I'm an avid Audible listener. I have about 1,300 audible books in my library. A third of them is in nutrition, a third is in personal development, and a third of it is absolutely pure fluff. Bubblegum for in my ears.
Well, folks, you're listening to Nothing Like a Good Book with Mark Bishop and my very, very special guest, a very talented man, and talk about somebody that's put time and effort into research. Oxygen for Life, Keys to Health is the name of the book. By the way, where can one buy it, Jan? Well, the
place where I prefer that you buy it would be Jan, Jan, Lindhardt, LINDHARDT.com. That's a website specifically for the book. That allows me to double my profits. Amazon is also available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, but they suck a lot of profits out of it, so I end up with about $2 to $3 per book, where if you buy it from my website, I can make $4 to $5 per book and give half of it back to my not-for-profit. That really is the plan.
Well, we'll make sure before you go, I want to get that down and put it up on my site. It'll be there permanently with your photo and your bio.
Certainly.
But all I have at the moment as a site is health2usa.com.
Yeah, and oxygenforlife.org and janlindhardt.com now.
All right. Make sure I get all of those to put them up, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I want to get on. With our time left, I've got a lot to cover, questions I really want to get into you about.
Okay.
Tell us a little bit more about yourself and what motivated you to write the book in the first place. And for those that, may have missed the beginning of this interview, I'm talking to Jan Lindhardt. His book is Oxygen for Life, Keys to Health. All right. Very interesting. I lost my mom through cancer. It still is the most dreaded just about disease out there. And there are so many people every year. In fact, Jan, let me ask you, what is the current condition of health in America?
Oh, my gosh. That is a very, very sad statement. And I can summarize it in the fact that we spend 2.5 times, actually now it's more than that. It's before COVID, it was $8,000 per person per year. Now it is $12,000 per person per year that we spend on wellness. And we are number 37 of the industrial nations for wellness. And that, of course, is a big disgrace. We have making it social pay like Denmark does not help because Denmark is number 34. France and Italy are the number 1 and 2 for health because of their Mediterranean lifestyle. So when you're looking at what is going on here, you're looking at the heart disease, which is preventable, takes 647,000 lives. Cancer, which is preventable and in many cases curable, takes 599,000 lives. But here comes a big disappointment. The American medical system itself is the third leading cause of death. Even though the doctors say above all, do no harm, there is still 251,000 people that are dying under their doctor's care. Now, that number includes the 1.7 million people in America who get hospital-acquired diseases, of which 99,000 die annually while in the hospital. They came in for a little something, they get an infection, and they die.
Well, that's a worry. That's a big worry. I've heard about this before, and it gets that way, to be honest, that one is just absolutely petrified to have to go to hospial.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
When I was in the hospital...
You can come out worse or you don't come out at all. I mean, that's scary stuff, isn't it?
It is scary. When I had COVID, I was reduced to only 17% lung capacity and below 80 in my blood oxygen. So I was a big 200-pound fish out of water, gasping for air. The protocols they were using had frustrated my doctor because the control of the procedures is controlled by the bean counters. So they gave me 3 rounds of antibiotics, which does nothing for COVID. And then they gave me remdesivir, which, of course, destroys your organs. So he went to the administrator and said, I want to try this particular medication. And the administrator says, no, we cannot spend any more money on Yen. He's not responding. So the administrator had given up. But they allowed me to bring in my own vitamins, supplements, alkaline water, and colloidal silver. And after 3 weeks and $33,000 later, my blood oxygen had gone up to 91, even though my lung capacity was only at 22%.
Right.
But once I got home, utilized the technologies in the book, as well as a lot of prayers and divine help, within a month, I was 70% healed. And month number 2, I was 100% healed. So when we're looking at the health in America, we have to look at a lot of factors. When I came to America, 1 in 10,000 people had autism. Today, it's 1 in 50 or less. Some people say it's actually 1 in 4 that had diminished capacity. So we're obviously doing something really, really wrong. Take, for instance, cancer, which we hit on earlier.
Now you're not a naturopath, are you? You're not a trained naturopath, are you?
No, I am all freelance, and that's why I do not prescribe. What I am giving people is a lifestyle, not a diet.
Okay.
I give them a lifestyle that they can embrace based on healthy shopping and eating methods, more than telling them what to eat and how to eat. It's more of these are my recommendations if you want to live longer, have good health.
All right, I got to get this book. I tell you now. Let me ask you, what is, say, well, yeah, I had a bad year too. I mean, I had COVID, but I was fortunate there. I didn't have it as bad as a lot of people, but I still had it enough.
Right.
And then I had 2 visits this year back for pneumonia into hospital.
Ouch.
And what really pisses me off, I got to tell you, Jan, is that 2 years ago, I asked them to test me blood-wise for what we have here in Arizona. It's called valley fever. It's something apparently that... Have you heard of it at all, valley fever?
No, I have not.
Okay, it's something you get if you live in Arizona, and if anybody's thinking of hearing this and coming here, don't let it worry you. It's like shingles. It sort of lives in you. It's a spore that comes from the earth, right, from the desert.
Right.
And it lives in you, and it doesn't stick its ugly head up until your immune system is exceptionally low. And, of course, mine was. I was pretty bad. Speaking of oxygen, this is the thing. What's pH? And why does being alkaline matter? Well,
actually, it is a quite simple process. pH stands for potential hydrogen. Now, I prefer PO, potential oxygen, and that is measuring a fluid, not just water, any fluid, from 0 to 14, where 0 is complete acidic, and 14 is completely alkaline. Everything above 7, the blood stays at 7.3 pH, so that's very, very narrow range. Mm-hmm. So sometimes when you eat something that's too acidic, the body will encapsulate that item in fat and not allow you to open it until such time that your body is more alkaline. But every time it goes up from 7, it is a tenfold increase. So from 7 to 8 is 10, and 8 to 9 is 100, and so on up.
Okay.
So the water I drink has 10,000 times more oxygen in it. And it literally comes back to, we're dealing with the interstitial fluids. Those are the fluids that surround the organs, because each organ has their own pH range. So what we have to do is look at a plate of food. Ignore the calories and the fats and the carbohydrates and all that stuff, because that's all secondary. Look at the plate and say, is the net effect of this food going to be acidifying, which means it's below 7, and therefore disease promoting? Or is it above 7 because there's a lot of green vegetables and low acidic items in my food? And in that case, it is in a healing state. It literally is a matter of adding together the hydrogen and the oxygen, because they are in an inverse relationship. When one goes up, the other one goes down. So the object is obviously to keep your interstitial fluids in an oxygenated state, right, to prevent disease.
Yen, tell us about more about the river of life, the circulatory system, as you call it.
That's actually a circulatory system, and that's one of the things that I teach people, is the importance of maintaining the river of life in good shape. Mm-hmm. The reality is that we have, by weight, you are 65% oxygen atoms. So when you're looking at let's say, for instance, a cell is a very, very small city with a whole bunch of organelles, mm-hmm, manufacturing something very, very specific. And inside that, you'll find your nucleus, and inside your nucleus, that's where you find your chromosomes, or your DNA is inside the chromosomes you got from your parents. While we're talking about that, what's interesting, the DNA in the chromosome has 4 legs. X chromosome has 4 legs. That means there are 4 snippets of DNA that are so tiny they can fit on the tip of a pen. But if you stretch them out, there is 6.5 feet of DNA in every snippet.
Oh, good Lord.
So when you add all of that together, your total DNA in your body is 8.4 trillion miles, twice around the solar system, one from your mom and one from your dad. So going back to the circulatory system, the heart only controls the arteries and the veins. The rest of it, this last 74%, is capillaries. Those are the little things that you see when you show the white of your eyes, little tiny things. And add all your capillaries end to end, and you have 74,000 miles of capillaries inside of you.
Good Lord.
Like 2.5 times around the world.
Isn't that amazing?
So, isn't that amazing? So each capillary has a little muscle that squeezes and relaxes like a pump and pushes the blood through the system. Uh-huh. So we really have to take care of that's why we call it the river of life. I kind of liken it to an interstate highway system. When you're on the interstate, all you can do is move forward. There's nothing happening. If you want to eat, you want to drink, you want to sleep, you want to repair, you want to recover, all that happens on the highways and byways. So the blood, the arteries, and the veins are simply highway system. Anything of importance happens at a capillary level, where the nutrients are being brought through the blood, but the blood is 1,000 times bigger than the opening in the cell wall. So it is the water in the blood that transfers the food and the oxygen out of the capillary and into the cell. where it then picks up the trash,
Right.
Cell trash, and oxygenates and delivers. Each cell have little sensors at the end of it that tells it what it needs.
Well, I could go on forever with this stuff. I mean, it's a real learning thing, and I could spend at least 3 hours with you. I can see why now that you focus on cellular health. I've got a couple of minutes left, Yen. Just again, to help promote the fact with the veterans, why your fascination, briefly, tell me, for my listeners, the veterans factor and what you're going to be doing for them.
Okay. Again, I was really motivated when I found out that the American involvement. My uncle actually was part of the resistance movement in Copenhagen, and he eventually had to flee to Sweden to get away from the Nazis because he was making a mess for the Nazis. But it is a point of gratitude. And when I first looked at starting Oxygen for Life, I really thought that my avatar, i.e. the person that best represents the market for my product, was the veterans. And then I realized, no, that's really not true. The person that I'm going after is the age group of 35 to 60. Those are the people who are hopefully patriotic enough to have a desire to help the veterans, because the veterans are the ones that are most in need and most deserving. Now, it's not hard to find sick people. All you got to do is look at your parents or your grandparents.
Right.
And those, of course, I also want to reach through the churches. But my heart really goes out to the veterans, because when you don't have any choice other than the VA system, you really don't have freedom. But if I give them another option that says, okay, this particular condition you have can be alleviated by these particular nutrients or this particular lifestyle, I have now given them an option that they can think about, pray about, and decide, do they want to follow it? Because now I have given them an option, the free agency. We don't have agency if all we have, the only choice we have is a medical system. So I want to give people back their agency so they can make intelligent choices.
Well, that's a darn good reason to buy your book, isn't it?
Well, you will learn about alkaline water in the book. You will learn about healing energy frequencies that I also used in getting my body back. There are certain frequencies coming out of the ground in the 10 to 30 hertz range. It's one of those God things. And each organ resonate at different frequencies.
Wow.
And so by stimulating the body with those frequencies, it increases the capillary response by 25 to 30%.
Wow.
Because when we were young, the capillaries would turn over 3 times a minute. And when you get older, it drops down to once a minute or
and all
twice
this
a minute.
is in the book. Jen, all this is in the book?
Oh, yes.
Oh, fabulous stuff. I can see
right
why
there.
now, really, location-wise, geographically, people feel better off in some places better than others, right? With what's coming out of the ground and what radiates with them better. Everybody's different, right?
Yeah.
Fascinating. All right, tell me this then. We've got to go. Do you have any final advice and where to go to learn more, Yen, that you'd like to share?
The final advice, if anything, is become an active participant in your own health. Find out more about the conditions that you have. Find more about the side effects of the medications that you take, and see if there are some alternative natural things you can do in replacement of those medications. Unfortunately, the medical system are very good about diagnosing. At this point, they now find out, what do I need to do to cover up the symptoms? It's kind of like saying, I twisted my knee and I was supposed to go dancing tonight, so I'll take a pill so that I can continue on dancing. That's not a very smart thing to do. So what we need to do is become an active participant in our health, looking at the most critical item that you have, and that is the quality of your oxygen. The oxygen will both heal you and kill you. Yeah. If there's too much free radical damage, like there is in some of the cities, then yeah, it'll kill you eventually by creating cancers. But if you have a high quality oxygen, preferably in liquid form, then you have small clustered oxygen that is also a free radical scavenger, because the water delivers billions of negative ions to help you overcome.
So the more water too.
Places,
yeah.
Yeah.
My word.
So you can go to Oxygen for Life. That's one word, oxygenforlife.org. You can learn more about my not-for-profit and get a quality of life score that you can take and get a free copy of the ebook. You can go to janlindhardt.com and you can get a copy of my book, order a copy of my book. You can also go to centropix.us, centropix.us/oxygen. That's where you can learn more about using energy healing, find the matching frequencies. It's kind of like charging your phone wirelessly by putting it on top of a wireless charger. You're literally charging every cell in your body to bring it into optimum performance. And then hopefully in the next month or so, you would have a health, HEALTHTO.US. So health to us or health to .us as in American.
All right.
Those would be the 4 websites that you can, of course, you can always contact me, Jan at health to USA. In this case, the 2 is the number 2, HEALTH number 2, USA.com. Or you can text me at 816-914-5161. Just leave a message first. I do not answer calls. Right. I do not recognize, and I'll get back with you.
Well, you're very open there. A lot of people don't give the number out per se to be able to speak to people, so that's very...
No, I don't mind.
That's very kind of you. I just missed one. I want you to repeat it for me because we're way over now, but that's okay. But the point is this. What is that website address again, the other one that was a bit more to do with the...
Yes, Centropix.
Centropix.
Is that the one?
Is that it?
Yes, Centropix.
Is that CEN or SEN?
No, CENTROPIX.US/oxygen.
Centropix. CENTROPIX. Correct?
.US, yeah, then .US.
.US.
And then /oxygen. Then you land on my website for that product, and you can learn why stimulating your body with natural frequencies. It's a new field.
Fabulous.
That is amazing what they can do.
It sounds good. You're fascinating to speak with, and I wish you all the luck in the world with this book. People, you should buy it. I'd highly recommend it. Maybe we can chat again sometime. Yeah, and you're an absolute knowledge, library of knowledge. Well, the man put 10 to 12,000 hours into the darn learning of everything. And he's not even a qualified naturopath. What does that tell you? I mean, I've learned more from him today than it's marvelous. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And all of these will be up on my website, on Mark Bishop Media, under Nothing Like a Good Book area there for the authors. And you're the latest one up there, and it'll have your bio, photo, and all of these links for people to be able to go to. Lovely speaking with you, Jan. Good luck in the future.
I appreciate that. And if the response is overwhelming, I'd love to come back and answer your audience questions.
Thank you. That would be great. Goodbye now.
Yeah, bye.